Slapping your logo on a polo shirt and calling it a business deduction might be the most confidently wrong tax move entrepreneurs make every single year. And the IRS, they have seen it all, and they are not impressed. Here is the real problem. The tax code has this quietly brutal concept called inherently personal, and it is designed specifically to stop you from writing off your wardrobe with a Canva logo iron-on. Think of it like a bouncer at a club who only lets in expenses that could not possibly show up at your cousin's barbecue. A firefighter's bunker gear passes that test instantly because nobody is wearing heat-resistant turnout pants to brunch on Sunday. But your branded quarter zip? You wore that to pick up your kids from school last Tuesday, and the IRS knows it. The distinction sounds simple until you realize how many smart, well-meaning business owners are confidently claiming these deductions right now with zero audit risk awareness. We are talking potentially hundreds of millions of dollars in questionable clothing deductions filed every single year across small businesses alone. The catalyst here is not greed, it is confusion. And that confusion is being actively monetized by bad advice floating around on social media from people whose only credential is a ring light and a confident tone. Someone on YouTube told you that a shirt with your logo is advertising. And honestly, that is not even a crazy leap. It just happens to be wrong in the eyes of the tax code. Advertising is a legitimate deduction, full stop. But there is a meaningful legal difference between buying ad space and buying yourself a wardrobe. The IRS separates promotional materials from personal clothing the same way you separate a billboard from the guy standing next to it. There was a moment around 2020 through 2023 where the write everything off content machine hit absolute peak velocity. And everyday entrepreneurs started treating their entire lifestyle as a deductible business operation. The optimism was intoxicating, the advice was everywhere, and the tax bills had not arrived yet to correct anyone. Now the correction is happening quietly through audits, amended returns, and some very uncomfortable conversations with CPAs who are cleaning up what the algorithm recommended. The psychological hangover of realizing your tax strategy was actually just wishful thinking is one of the most humbling financial experiences a business owner can have. History has rhymed on this one before. The home office deduction was the clothing deduction of the 1990s, aggressively claimed, poorly understood, and eventually used as an audit red flag for years. Every generation of entrepreneurs finds a new version of the deduction that feels too logical to be wrong, and every generation learns the same lesson on a slight delay. The misconception worth busting directly is this: the logo does not transform the garment, it just decorates it. Unless the clothing is required for your work and not suitable for everyday wear, the IRS is almost certainly going to view it as a personal expense, regardless of what your chest says. What you can deduct are things like uniforms required by an employer or trade, costumes for performers that are genuinely unwearable in daily life, and protective gear that would be insane to wear outside of your job. The practical rule of thumb is brutally simple. If you would wear it on a day off, it is probably yours to pay for. The disciplined move here is not to abandon the idea of branding. It is to route your branding budget through legitimate advertising and marketing channels that are clearly documented and clearly business purposed. Branded merchandise given to clients, trade show materials, or actual ad placements all survive scrutiny in ways your logoed fleece simply does not. Sizing your risk correctly in the tax world means asking yourself whether a deduction would make sense to explain out loud to an auditor with a straight face. Discipline over cleverness is always the better long-term strategy, because the audit might not come this year, but the IRS statute of limitations is 3 years long and sometimes longer. At the end of the day, the businesses that win long-term are not the ones who squeeze every questionable deduction, but the ones who build clean, defensible books that let them sleep at night and scale without fear. Know the rules, respect the line, and let your actual business results do the heavy lifting. And if you are ready to build something real with a solid financial foundation, we can help you get started, whether in real estate investing, home contracting, work, or finding lenders. So check out our links in the description below.